Hi everybody, this is the baseball height, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host. Welcome back to the baseball height. I hope you like this video and hit that subscribe button. We're going to talk about this interview to a certain degree that David Stearns did with The Athletic. I'll read you some quotes, but this video is really about stability. And really, I've talked about this a lot on this channel, so if you like that stuff, hit that subscribe button, because you're going to learn things here, or maybe relearn stuff that's been going on with the Mets for a long time. Sort of talk about how important it is to have stability, and why certain people online have complained about the Mets not being able to draft successful major leaguers and successful players that contribute with the Mets. But let me read you part of what was basically discussed in the Athletic. It was an interview that was done, and David Stearns, who's the Mets president of baseball operations, discussed what being a Met fan means to him, having grown up being a Met fan, now he's running the team, and of course stability and how he's building this organization. Now, let's get into this thing he said about Mets fans, and really about himself. Quote, "There's more meaning to this job than there would be in any other job in baseball for me." This is David Stearns saying this. Because I grew up a Mets fan, because my family were Mets fans, because a lot of my friends are Met fans. Because I think I understand how much winning here would actually mean to everyone involved with the organization, and that is damn sure. I remember when we saw Johan Santana throw that no-hitter, how much that meant to everybody. All those years ago, that meant so much to me, and it meant so much to everybody. So winning is very important to us as Met fans. And a lot of people online, a lot of people that complain about the club, that are supposed Met fans, all they want to win. They don't want to lose any games. You're going to lose games along the way. But everything has to be perfect. And with human beings and with baseball, nothing's perfect. Now, he talks about in this interview building out the organization. And he was talking about the Dodgers. And obviously, Steve Cohen has talked about the Dodgers. And this is what Stearns had to say. "I hesitate to say that any other club should be our models, the Dodgers," Stearns said. "I think we need to create our own identity. I think we need to create our own way of doing things. If we were to say we want to do what another team is doing, I think we would fall because we don't know exactly what they're doing." And then he continued on. Stearns told Kepner, it's the interviewer, what will be different with the Mets in his time in Milwaukee is he will have more leeway to take our shots in free agency, but they have to be well calculated. A quote, "And we have to understand we can't do it all the time," Stearns said. So I don't think there is a magic formula to that, but you're right. One of the inherent advantages of the smaller markets and running a smaller market is that you can only get yourself into so much trouble, right? Because you can't afford the truly big mistakes. Where big market clubs historically have gotten themselves into long-term trouble is by making repeated big mistakes in the luxury aisle of the supermarket. So we're going to shop in that aisle, but we have to do it so intelligently. And we have to do so when it makes sense for the overall direction of our franchise. Now, the article mentions Yoshinobu Yamamoto, how the Mets really tried hard to get him. They offered him the most money, but he didn't come back because he wanted to sign with the Dodgers. And the article says the Mets, they signed Luis Severino, Showman Knight, who pitched really well on Tuesday night against the Cardinals. Adrian Hauser, which was a trade, and outfielder Harrison Bader. Now, about the front office stability. Let me read you part of this article. Stearns went on to point out that many of the teams across all sports with sustained success have had stability in the front office, with the owner, front office manager, head coach on the same page. And baseball references time in Milwaukee and cited Cleveland, Tampa, and the Yankees as other examples. He also be with the Mets for a long time. Quote, "I certainly think we can build it," he said. "It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But we need to. That is a must for us to have the stability that allows us to consistently be rolling in the same direction." Okay, now it's a couple of things. Let's sort of start out a little bit. We'll go back to 1980. So from 1980 to 1991, the Mets had one general manager, Frank Cashin. During that time, he built up the farm system. Now, if this were today, he'd be under fire because the media would have been especially WFN, would have been on his case by year 3. By 1982, they would have been on his case. But there wasn't talk radio then. But in 1983, Darryl got here, Keith Hernandez got here. But by the 4th, 5th year of the Mets regime with the Will Ponds and the Doubledays, look how long it took them to build up the farm system. Things are different now, but the stability there with one general manager for 11 years, 12 seasons, it's a big thing. 84 through 90, that was the best time to be a Met fan because of all the winning they did. They won World Series, they won a division. And from 84 through 90, part of 90, they had one manager, David Johnson. From 96 to 2002, the Mets had one general manager, well actually 2 general managers because they had Joe McElveen and then Steve Phillips took over. And then they had one manager, Bobby Valentine. That's stability. From 2005 to 2017, the Mets had 2 general managers, Sandy Olson and Omar Minaya. And they had 3 managers during those years. Now I bring that up because it's very important to understand those are the most successful years of the Mets. I'm not going to talk about 69, but those are some of the most successful years in the history of the ball club, for the most part. I mean, we know from 2008 to 2015, we had the whole made-up situation. But I'm talking about the front office. Front office, the manager's office, the stability there, how important it is. It's very important with having a very stable front office. And I'll show you that. From 2017 to now, the Mets, that's 7 years. The Mets have had 6 general managers / presidents of baseball operations. During that time, they've had 6 managers, including the ill-fated Carlos Beltran 2-month off-season time. That is extremely difficult to have any kind of winning. And that has nothing to do with changing ownerships too. So it's had changing ownerships during this time. Now we have stability with the ownership, which is the first step in building a strong organization. But people like Frank Fleming complained about the Mets farm system not being able to develop major league talent, even for other teams. From 2006 to 2013, 2014, the Mets were pumping out young players, pumping them out. A lot of it had to do with Omar Minaya's drafts. He drafted Jacob deGrom, Matt Harvey, was able to develop and help develop, prior to that, David Wright, Jose Reyes, and of course Sandy Olson brought in Syndergaard, brought in Darno, and brought in a lot of young players. Steven Matz was an Omar guy. So you saw the stability of having a strong farm system coming from a strong front office and what they want. Now, over the last 7 years, they've had constant turnover. And what that does is it changes the philosophy. You bring in one general manager, he might have one philosophy on a draft. So he wants to draft all college players. Then the next general manager comes in, well, I want to draft nothing but pitchers. Okay, then the next draft is, I want to draft high school players. The next guy comes in, I want to draft, hitters. High school hitters. So it's all over the place. So how are you able to come up with any kind of organizational philosophy just for that? It's very difficult. It's very extremely difficult. And a lot of people don't understand that. And then they get all uptight, well, the Mets aren't doing this, well, you can't be screaming online, calling for people to get fired, and then wonder why the Mets don't have a good farm system. And then that's kind of what happens here. Well, let me know what you think about this video, as I've lost my voice. And I would mention I have memberships on the channel. If you want to support the channel, because I haven't been doing too many live streams, but you got to keep an eye out for that. And of course, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you later.